First up is Adele. Before her weight loss, Adele was constantly targeted by tabloids and even late night hosts who made really cruel jokes about her size. Now, despite that, she always reminded the world that her talent, not her body, was the reason she was famous. She once said, "I don't make music for your eyes, I make music for your ears." That clapback shut a lot of people up. Then there's Kelly Clarkson. Ever since winning American Idol, Kelly has been in the spotlight for her voice and unfortunately also her body. She's admitted that strangers, the press, and even record executives have fat shamed her. But Kelly has become one of the loudest advocates for body positivity, saying she's happier and healthier when she ignores outside opinions. Rihanna also faced fat shaming, especially in 2017 when blogs cruelly claimed she had a food baby and compared her body to older photos. The internet quickly fired back in her defense, and Rihanna didn't even have to respond. Her confidence said it all. Tyra Banks is another celebrity who knows the pain of fat shaming. Back in 2007, paparazzi photos of her in a swimsuit went absolutely viral, with headlines calling her fat. Tyra hit back on her talk show, at the time famously yelling, "Kiss my fat ass." That moment became legendary and sparked conversations about body image in the modeling world. Jonah Hill is proof that men aren't immune to fat shaming either. Early in his career, he was actually constantly mocked for his size by comedians and interviewers. Even after losing a lot of weight, people still criticized him. Jonah Hill has spoken openly about how damaging those comments were, and he has become a voice for men that struggle with body image. Billie Eilish was only 18 years old when paparazzi photos of her wearing a tank top went absolutely viral. People online immediately body shamed her, saying that she didn't look like, the oversized hoodies she usually wore at the time. Billie responded by saying that no matter what she wears, people will criticize her body and that no one should have that kind of control over how she dresses and looks. And then finally, we have Khloe Kardashian. Now, even within her own famous family, she's been labeled the quote-unquote fat sister. She's spoken about how that nickname damaged her self-esteem for many, many years. Although Khloe has transformed her body through fitness and dieting, she's admitted that no matter what she does, trolls always find something to say. So these celebrities, they prove that no matter how rich or famous you are, fat shaming is still cruel, it's still very hurtful, and it's still far too common. But they've also shown us that self-confidence, talent, and speaking out against the hate are the real clapbacks.
Joan Rivers fat-shamed Oprah Winfrey on The Tonight Show in 1985 during Oprah's first ever national TV appearance. Now, Oprah recalled the incident in her book, Food, Health, and Happiness, writing that Joan said, "So, how did you gain the weight? Wait a minute, did she just use my national television debut to ask me why I was so fat?" she said. Joan sat behind Johnny's big wooden desk, telling me she didn't want to hear my excuses and that I shouldn't have let this happen. She wagged her flawlessly manicured finger at me, pointed out that I was still a single girl, and challenged me to come back 15 pounds lighter the next time she hosted, Oprah said. Now, throughout her career, Oprah has been very open about her struggles to lose weight, and she even became the face of the weight loss program Weight Watchers. Ultimately though, she decided to take Ozempic and it slimmed down her figure completely. Now, Whoopi Goldberg revealed that she started using weight loss injections around 2022 after a woman thought she was wearing a fat suit in one of her films. Now, it wasn't a fat suit, Whoopi was just 300 pounds at the time. Yeah, and Whoopi actually called this out on an episode of The View, saying, "I don't really care about how you felt about the movie, but you should know that was not a fat suit, that was me. That was me, that was steroids." You see, Whoopi was taking steroids at the time of filming to treat her sciatica symptoms. She added, "It's okay not to be a fan of the movie, but you want to leave people's looks out," which is a good point. In 2014, Jonah Hill visited Georgia Tech to screen his new animated series, Alan Gregory. Now, after the screening, he did a short press conference with local radio shows, and Jonah has played many roles where he's considered to be the fat guy. Now, at this point in the interviews though, he had lost weight and had gone to a nutritionist, and he decided to be a healthier version of himself. Now, after he explained this, an interviewer asked him, "But are you still considered the fat that guy. Another reporter laughs, and you can just see Jonah's whole demeanor change. It was just a plain rude thing to ask, and Jonah then looks at other reporters and asks, "Do you have any other questions that are smart?" and then continued on with the interview with different reporters. And in 2004, Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen were guests on the Oprah Winfrey Show. Now at the time, Mary-Kate had been hounded by the press about her weight, with intense media speculation that the star was suffering from an eating disorder. Now Oprah says, "I know there's been a rumor that has recently surfaced that's upset you." Now Mary-Kate and Ashley were both clearly taken aback by the question, and a tense moment of silence followed, by Oprah saying, "You know, the one about the eating." Now Mary-Kate was so thrown off by the line of questioning that she looked almost on the verge of tears, and after some awkward back and forth, Oprah asked the Olsen twins what dress size they were, and they reacted uncomfortable, saying, "I don't know." Now it was obvious that the questions about their body were uncomfortable, but Oprah still pushed. When they said they weren't sure, Oprah hit back sarcastically saying, "Oh, you're not sure? That's so interesting." Now they were just teenagers at the time of this interview, so this was really messed up.
Sydney Sweeney, the Emmy-nominated star known for her roles in Euphoria and Anyone But You, has undergone a physical transformation for her latest project. The actress recently revealed that she gained more than 30 pounds to portray pioneering boxer Christy Martin in an upcoming biopic, a commitment that has left fans and the entertainment world in awe of her dedication. Sweeney's decision to gain weight was rooted in her desire to authentically embody Christy Martin, a trailblazer in women's boxing during the 1990s. The biopic will chronicle Martin's rise to fame as the first female fighter to appear on the cover of Sports Illustrated, and her tumultuous personal life, including surviving a near-fatal attack by her husband, who was also her trainer. In her interview with W Magazine, Sweeney shared, "I came on board to play Christy and I had about 3.5 months of training. I started eating, I weight trained in the morning for an hour, kickboxed midday for about 2 hours, and then weight trained again at night for an hour. This intense regimen not only helped her build the muscle and stamina required to be a professional boxer, but also contributed to her rapid weight gain." The physical changes Sweeney underwent were fair. The actress moved up 4 pant sizes, going from her usual size 23 in jeans to a size 27. "My bust increased and my backside became enormous. It was crazy," she recalled. Sweeney admitted that none of her clothes fit anymore, prompting a complete wardrobe overhaul. Despite the changes, Sweeney embraced her new physique. "It was amazing. I was so strong, like crazy strong," she told W Magazine. Her transformation was not about weight gain. It was about building the strength and presence needed to convincingly portray a world-class athlete. To fully inhabit Christy Martin, Sweeney also adopted a new aesthetic. She wore brown contact lenses and a mullet-style brown wig to match Martin's signature look in the ring. The combination of her altered physique and new styling have made her nearly unrecognizable to fans accustomed to her previous glamorous red carpet appearances. Nevertheless, Sweeney continues to stun at public events. At the Echo Valley premiere in London, she turned heads in a custom Miu Miu dress that showcased her blue eyes and confidence. The Tiffany blue gown with its cutout bodice and flowing pleated skirt highlighted her figure, while her radiant makeup and sparkling diamond jewelry completed that look. Sweeney's transformation has sparked widespread discussion online. On Reddit, fans and critics debated the logistics and impact of her weight gain, with some speculating about the proportions of muscle versus fat and others expressing admiration for her dedication. Many drew comparisons to other actors who have undergone significant body changes for roles, noting that such transformations often signal a deep commitment to the craft and can lead to critical acclaim. The director of the film praised Sweeney's work ethic, telling W Magazine that she trained her butt off to play the part, and emphasizing the importance of authenticity in bringing Christy Martin's story to life. The film, slated for release in November of 2025, is already generating Oscar buzz, with some predicting that Sweeney's performance could be a career-defining moment for her. For Sweeney, the experience has been transformative beyond the physical. She has spoken about the empowerment she felt during the process, describing herself as strong and expressing pride in her ability to take on such a challenging role. Her journey is a testament to resilience, strength, and hope, and I'm honored to step into her shoes and share her powerful story with you all, Sweeney said of Martin. As she prepares to bring Christy Martin's inspiring story to the big screen, Sydney Sweeney's new look for the film stands as a testament to the lengths actors will go to for their craft and the power of transformation both inside and out.
Coming in at 10, Matt Damon, The Informant. Released in 2009, The Informant follows Mark Whitaker, a man with a promising career with agricultural corporation Archer Daniels Midland. The espionage fanatic decides to turn his life on its head by bringing them down from the inside. For the role, Damon gained a total of 30 pounds, and unlike the large majority of our list, Matt Damon had fun doing it. I quote, "I definitely got doughy. I started eating like crazy and drinking dark beer. Between meals on set, I'd eat a #1 value meal at McDonald's, and then Doritos on top of it. It was absolute heaven. I don't know about you, but that makes me want to throw up." In at 9, Renee Zellweger, Bridget Jones's Diary. Arguably one of my favourite rom-coms, Bridget Jones's Diary follows Bridget at the start of the new year, who decides it's time to take control of her life and start keeping a diary, and in turn changing her life through men, food and sex, and documenting all of it from page to page. Now, Renee Zellweger of course played Bridget, and notoriously gained 40 pounds in order to play the titular character. In the book itself, Jones is known to have poor eating habits and fluctuating body weight, and so Zellweger wanted to do the original text justice by also gaining the weight. She did this by giving up exercising and eating lots of fatty foods. She also approached the role as her trying to create a character that had a more realistic body compared to her own at the time, which was very thin. Following the film, she lost the weight before gaining it back once again for the sequel, with both films being incredibly successful. There was also a third, Bridget Jones's Baby, but we don't talk about that one. It was terrible. In at 8, Matthew McConaughey, Gold. Released in 2016, Gold follows Kenny Wells, a prospector desperate for a lucky break. An intern teams up with a similarly eager geologist and sets off on an amazing journey to find gold in the uncharted jungle of Indonesia. Gold is based on a real-life 1993 mining scandal, but for legal reasons the character names were changed. McConaughey gained 47 pounds over 6 months, eating pizza and cheeseburgers and avoiding exercise in order to achieve the look he wanted. Now, like a lot of the movies on our list, it ultimately received mixed reviews, but McConaughey was commended for his enthusiasm and commitment to the role. I'm thinking he probably has regrets now. In at 7, Vincent D'Onofrio, Full Metal Jacket. Full Metal Jacket is perhaps one of the greatest films of all time, and definitely one of my favourite Stanley Kubrick films. Released back in 1987, Full Metal Jacket tells the story of the Vietnam War, and follows smart Alec Private Davis and his foul-mouthed drill sergeant, as well as pudgy Private Lawrence, as they endure the rigours of basic training. Now, D'Onofrio's weight gain for his role as Leonard Lawrence is considered the most significant of any film role ever, with the actor gaining 70 pounds in order to better fit the character. Kubrick wanted the character to be big and clumsy, in turn making the ridicule he receives in the movie warranted. Now, the film was critically acclaimed, with D'Onofrio's part being a standout. However, the weight gain did not sit well with him apparently. During the filming of one of the scenes, D'Onofrio injured his knee, with the severity of the injury being compounded by his weight, resulting in the actor getting surgery to repair it. He also went on to state they hated being overweight because he didn't get the same respect that he had before. Following filming, he very quickly lost the weight and went on to audition for other roles. But do we see him now? No. You were better when you were fat. In at 6, Ryan Gosling, The Lovely Bones. Now, you may think I'm confused because we all know Ryan Gosling didn't star in The Lovely Bones. That was Mark Wahlberg, right? Yeah. However, the role was Gosling's, but it was ultimately taken away from him when he went above and beyond for the role, something the director didn't ask him to do. In 2007, Gosling was cast as Jack Salmon, the father of Susie, a young girl who was brutally murdered and now watches from heaven over her grief-stricken family and her killer. Now, initially after getting cast, Gosling had some reservations about the role because he thought he would be too young. So in an effort to make himself seem older, Gosling gained weight, specifically 60 pounds of weight. He did this by drinking melted ice cream daily in order to achieve the desired look. However, when he arrived on the set, the director and the production staff were understandably upset after the weight gain, considering he never told them he was doing it, and in turn Gosling was fired because of this, and Mark Wahlberg was cast to replace him in the final film. Sucks to be you. In at 5, Russell Crowe, Body of Lies. Released back in 2008, Body of Lies follows CIA agent Roger Ferris, who hatches a bold plan to capture terrorist Al-Salim. With the help of Ed Hoffman, Ferris creates a fake terrorist organization to prompt Al-Salim out of hiding. Now, during production of the film, Crowe worked closely with director Ridley Scott to define the character, and deciding that his character has been athletic in the past, but his job had caused him to lose his toned physique. So Crowe went away and gained 63 pounds for the role, with his diet consisting of high-fat foods including hamburgers and adapting a sedentary lifestyle. Now, that may sound fun to some, eating whatever you want all day every day. However, this diet had its downsides, with Crowe stating, I quote, "At one point I was worried about it from a health point point of view because I had my cholesterol checked. It had reached dangerous territory. I was surprised that my body was taking all of it so seriously. I was enjoying myself because I was eating and drinking what I liked, but my body was objecting. The most frightening thing was having to rock back and forwards to get out of a car. Instead of stepping out, I had to tip myself out. Yikes. To make matters worse, the film received mixed reviews and Crowe's performance didn't stand out at all. Coming in at 4, Christian Bale, The Dark Knight, American Hustle, and literally anything else he's been in. At this point, it's public knowledge that way back in 2004, Christian Bale dropped down from £173 to £110 for his role in the 2004 thriller The Machinist. However, that's not the film we're talking about. Immediately after wrapping on that film, Bale began to bulk up his body in order to play Bruce Wayne in Batman Begins. And in 6 months, Bale had gained 109 pounds. More shocking still, director Christopher Nolan actually thought Bale looked too big to reprise the role, resulting in Bale dropping 40 pounds before filming began. Now, it is still unknown how the actor gains and sheds his weight so quickly and drastically. However, it is known that he worked out consistently before losing the weight for The Machinist, but it doesn't end there. Following The Dark Knight, Bale went on to lose 40 pounds for his role in The Fighter, before gaining weight once again for his role as Irving Rosenfeld in American Hustle, with the actor gaining 43 pounds by eating unhealthily and frequently. Bale ultimately won the Oscar for The Fighter and earned himself a nomination for American Hustle. In at 3, Robert De Niro, Raging Bull. Released back in 1980, Raging Bull tells the story of a middleweight boxer as he rises through the ranks to earn his first shot at the middleweight crown. In the process, he falls in love with a girl from the Bronx, and the inability to express his feeling enters the ring and takes over his entire life, leading him into a downward spiral, resulting in him losing everything and getting fat. Now, it was during the making of The Godfather Part 2 that De Niro first found out about boxer Jake LaMotta. With the actor incredibly captivated by his story, he wanted to make a movie. It took 4 years, but De Niro eventually convinced Martin Scorsese, and the film takes place over several decades, and LaMotta is shown as a young agile fighter and a heavy retiree. When it came to shooting the film, they started with the boxing scenes, which allowed De Niro to train intensively before being forced to gain more than 60 pounds for the older scenes. He did this by binge eating 3 times a day, including pasta, meat, butter, ice cream, and beer. However, when he returned to set to begin filming, he had a ton of health issues due to the rapid weight gain, with the actor having to do short takes because he had trouble breathing and would get tired quickly. Martin Scorsese even shut down production at one point because he was so concerned about De Niro's health. It all paid off though, because Raging Bull was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Picture, and De Niro won the award for Best Actor. In at 2, Jared Leto, Chapter 27. Released in 2007, this crime drama starring Jared Leto follows the mentally disturbed Mark David Chapman, who arrives in 1980 New York City to stalk his idol, John Lennon, and ultimately kills him. Once landing the role of the notorious murderer, Leto gained 67 pounds in order to have the same body type as the real Mark Chapman. According to Leto, in order to accomplish this transformation, he would drink melted ice cream, soy sauce, and olive oil. He also went on to state that he gained so much weight so quickly that his body couldn't support the extra mass, and he was overcome with gout. Now, at one point he was confined to a wheelchair. The actor has claimed that gaining the weight for the role was the most difficult thing he has ever had to do as an actor, even more difficult than losing weight for roles such as Requiem for a Dream or even Dallas Buyers Club. Now, the film itself didn't do too well and received mixed reviews, but Leto's performance was praised nonetheless, with the actor winning the award for Best Actor at the Zurich Film Festival. And finally, in at number 1, Charlize Theron, Monster. Released in 2003, Monster follows the true story of prostitute Eileen Wuornos, played by Charlize Theron, who meets a young and reserved Shelby Wall, and a romance very quickly blossoms. However, when a man attempts to attack Eileen, she kills him, and more men quickly follow. Now, Charlize threw herself completely into the role, not just in her performance but in her appearance as well, with the actress wanting to get closer to the physical shape of Wuornos' body, and to also better understand her lifestyle. Not only that, she also decided a method acting approach would be the best test for her, and to complete the transformation, Theron ate a diet consisting of high-fat foods such as donuts and potato chips, resulting in the actress gaining 30 pounds to portray the serial killer. She also worked personally with a hairstylist to dry out her hair in order to achieve the right look. This may come as a surprise to most, but in the end, the only prosthetic that was used during filming were a set of eyelids, with Theron's dedication to the role very clearly shining through.
At number 10, we have the stunning supermodel Ashley Graham. Ashley revealed her experience of being a plus-size model in 2017 through the Las Vegas Review-Journal, where she admitted to constantly being on the receiving end of fat shaming and bullying comments, but couldn't foresee the pressure of needing to be thin at first. She detailed how this impacted her up to the point of the active pursuit of her modeling career. Ashley also recalled in the interview at the time when a mall talent agency suggested she drop a few pounds so she could, quote, become a model. Ashley discussed not feeling too hard about remarks like these until her father soon joined the bandwagon of body shaming. She admitted, "The really hard moment was when my dad said, 'Honey, if an agent is telling you to lose weight, then maybe you should lose weight.' I was 15 standing in our living room having a moment I will never forget. I never had a parent tell me to lose weight and it hurt." But rather than blame her father for his words, Ashley chose instead to place the blame on the modeling industry and their unrealistic standards for beauty. In light of her father's words, Ashley described him to be thinking like a businessman and knew that it wasn't his lack of love for her, but his drive to help her succeed being the reason behind it all. At number 9, we have Hunger Games actress Jennifer Lawrence. Jennifer spoke out at ELLE's Women in Hollywood event back in 2017 about how humiliating and degrading the film industry deals with and approaches body image. In her own words, Jennifer vented about how subjective their views are, explaining, "When I was much younger and starting out, I was told by producers of a film to lose 15 pounds in 2 weeks. During this time, a female producer had me do a nude lineup with about 5 women who were much thinner than me. We all stood side by side with only tape on covering our privates, and the female producer told me I should use the naked photos of myself as inspiration for my diet." Adding on to this statement as well, Jennifer described the experience as making her feel trapped and talked about how she now continuously reminds herself that she deserves to be treated with respect. At number 8, we have Friends star Jennifer Aniston, who told Rolling Stone back in 1996 that her agent informed her to slim down to conform to Hollywood's It List. When Jennifer recalled her experience of needing to make it in Hollywood, she described the occurrence as such. "My agent gave it to me straight. The disgusting thing of Hollywood, I wasn't getting lots of jobs because I was too heavy." Jennifer was reported to have lost an entirety of 30 pounds before her audition for the hit sitcom Friends, adding that she never believed she would have been cast as main character Rachel Green if she hadn't taken on the decision to lose weight as suggested. At number 7, we have Stranger Things actor David Harbour. In 2017, he disclosed to The Wrap about how he landed an audition to play the Wolverine's Blob in the then upcoming film. Apparently, a casting director made comments that David was perfect for the, quote, big fat character. In response, David recalled jokingly telling the director that the offer was flattering, but the casting director continued by explaining how they needed a big guy to fit into the suit. In a maturity one could not find in me, David proceeded to attend the audition anyway, where he jokingly flashed his stomach to the director with the words, "I've got your blob right here." Ironically enough, following the audition, the director suddenly expressed concerns regarding David's weight at the time. In the director's words, according to David, he said, "David, look, you're wonderful. We really think you're a great actor. We're just really concerned. You lifted up your shirt and we're just a little worried about your health." Still discussing this with The Wrap, David finalized that his response to this was, "Wait a minute, you're telling me I'm too fat to play the blob?" At number 6, we have the legendary model Tyra Banks. Now, Tyra holds many titles, most of which are TV personality, businesswoman, producer, actress, and writer. But among those, no one can ever forget how she made a huge name for herself from modeling. Still, Tyra, who is arguably one of the greatest supermodels to exist, once told Business Insider about how she faced a lot of body image difficulties and unrealistic weight expectations while she worked in the modeling industry. In the sit-down, she took a trip down memory lane when describing how she was referred to as too big by Milan Fashion Week designers during the height of her career in her younger days. Apparently, they informed her mother that her figure was getting too full, especially in her butt. And following this, Tyra also received a list of designers who no longer had any interest in working with her. Upon the revelation, Tyra cried to her mother about her then options, where she detailed, "I was like, Mom, okay, what should I do? Should I diet? Should I work out twice a day? Should I just have salads for breakfast, lunch, and dinner?" Thankfully, Tyra recalled her mom instantly shutting down her ideas and made sure to be clear when she stated how she would be damned if her daughter starved for the modeling industry. At number 5, we have English actor Sam Claflin. In 2017, Sam spoke with the Sydney Morning Herald that he was struggling with major self-confidence and body image issues while he worked in the film industry. He reminisced about one particular time when he was doing a job and someone forced him to pull his shirt up. They then began grabbing his body, telling telling him he needed to lose weight. In another instance, Sam recalled being slapped like a piece of meat. To summarize his overall feelings about the issue, Sam stated, "I'm not saying it's anywhere near as bad as what women go through, but I, as an actor approaching each job, am insecure, especially when I have to take my top off in it. I get really worked up to the point where I spend hours and hours in the gym and not eating for weeks to achieve what I think they're going for." Sam continued by adding that the pressure to maintain a muscular and slim physique portrayed an unrealistic body image that is practically unobtainable. In Sam's words, this achievement is, quote, anything but normal. At number 4, we have the I Feel Pretty leading actress and comedian Amy Schumer. Amy has been extremely vocal about being confident in her own body. Despite this, her outspoken ways have not excluded her from being a victim of body shaming, specifically while she was filming her 2015 hit movie Trainwreck. Amy broke down the criticism she was presented with from the movie's producers during a Jonathan Ross talk show appearance in the UK. During this, she explained, "It was explained to me before I did that movie Trainwreck that if you weighed over 140 pounds as a woman in Hollywood, if you're on the screen, it'll hurt people's eyes." Amy continued her sit down by going over the details of how it was hinted that those same people nearly wanted her to believe it was initially her idea to lose weight, rather than just deal it realistically. Unfortunately, Amy eventually caved into the pressure, not sure what other options were available for her. In regards to this, the star detailed, "I lost some weight to do that, but never again." Thankfully, the whole ordeal was a learning experience that didn't send the actress-comedian on a downward spiral in an unhealthy direction from the pressures of Hollywood's manipulations and obsession with being underweight. At number 3, we have Mean Girls actress and former behind-the-screen boss lady for SNL. This comedian, writer, producer, and playwright genius made her big break in Hollywood with Saturday Night Live, but her transition from writing for the show behind the scenes to being on screen during filming came with some complications. When Lorne Michaels brought about the decision, Tina was heavily encouraged to lose a minimum of 30 pounds. Reportedly, Hollywood agent Sue Mengers informed Lorne that Tina did not have the look to be on screen. At the time, Tina had no other words to listen to but Sue's, which resulted in her dropping the recommended weight and then some to transform her overall look. Conclusively, Tina eventually became so thin that her friends were growing concerned about whether or not the comedian was starving herself. Nowadays though, Tina has had a completely different and more mature mindset than that of the one before and has molded herself far more comfortably into her current body. Good on Tina for no longer bending to Hollywood's extremely expectant will. At number 2, we have rising Euphoria star Jacob Elordi. His role as Nate Jacobs is considered to be his most popular, alongside his leading role and reprisal for Noah Flynn in Netflix's original franchise The Kissing Booth. When the Australian native sat down with Men's Health magazine in 2020, Jacob admitted that the fitness routine for TKB resulted in him keeping himself busy in the gym twice a day for the full 7 days a week. Quote, "I trained extensively for the first film because it said it in the script. I was so terribly nervous that I wouldn't be what the script wanted me to be." And according to Men's Health, the comments and suggestions surrounding Jacob's physical appearance forced him into a dark corner of feeling like fans were solely focused on his looks and not the work he put into acting out his roles. He described being bothered by everyone's need to talk about his body once he was thrown into the world of being in the spotlight at a young age. Jacob also opened up about his decision to get smaller for his HBO role in Euphoria. Discussed his reconsideration of how he looks at his body and not to make the same mistake of training to prepare for the Kissing Booth sequel. In short, he said the first film was all about sculpting and making sure I had this figure that I thought the character needed. Now, it's much more functional as opposed to actual aesthetics. At number 1, we have probably one of the most extreme celebrity stories of being forced to drop pounds to fit Hollywood's expectations. For this, we have a late icon by the name of Judy Garland, who was an actress and singer in her time. Despite her situation not emerging years and years later, Judy faced quite harrowing conditions throughout her career. Her suffering reportedly started at just about 14 years old when she successfully role in her first featured film, a college football-inspired musical called Pigskin Parade. There were claims made that while Judy was filming her scenes, MGM referred to her as a quote, "fat little pig with pigtails." Of course, back in 1936, the contracts for studios were outrageous, and producers practically had endless control over their actors. So what did they do with her? Well, they forced Judy to partake in her first diet, where apparently food was literally being ripped out of her young hand. The next few years showed no signs of slowing down either. When Judy was 18, she landed her most prominent role in The Wizard of Oz. And where things seemed great on screen, they were anything but off. It was also revealed at one point that for this feature, Judy had no choice but to go on yet another diet of consuming only toffee, and chicken soup, as well as needing to smoke 80 cigarettes a day to curb her appetite. Even worse, as if it could get any worse, Judy was reported fed a pill typically made to prevent her from feeling hungry. The horrific treatment Judy suffered at the hands of her production company went on to damage her health lifelong, as she suffered from eating disorders throughout the remainder of it.
Number 10. Kelly Clarkson. The singer got an absurd amount of criticism from Katie Hopkins, an English television personality who had proven time and time again that some people will go to extreme measures to tell women that being fat is some kind of moral failing and the result of laziness. But she really took it too far on her own television show, where she gains and loses about 18 kilograms just to show you how easy it is. She told Entertainment Tonight, quote, "Kelly Clarkson is now a chunky monkey. If we're putting it kindly, she does look like she's eaten her backup singers." Hopkins went on to say that Kelly needs to get out there with her stroller and do some pushing and get some of that weight off. But Clarkson's response was amazing. When Heat magazine told her about the tweets, she was puzzled. Quote, "I don't have a clue what you're talking about. Someone tweeted something about me?" And once she was actually shown the comments, she simply said, "Oh, and she's tweeted something nasty about me. That's because she doesn't know me. I'm awesome. It doesn't bother me. It's a free world, say what you will." There's literally no better way to make it clear that you're confident in your own skin. Number 9. Iskra Lawrence. 2016 was definitely a great year for Iskra Lawrence's career. The 28-year-old British fashion star rose quickly to fame in the fashion industry after American Eagle chose her as one of its models. She has also made a name for herself by promoting body positivity on her own social media accounts while making it a priority to never retouch her images. Throughout all of her success though, Iskra has worked to keep her message about body positivity relatively same for her followers. She will often post pictures online showing off her curves unretouched so others can also find inspiration in celebrating their own body shapes. But that has got her a lot of hate on the internet for being both plus size and a model. In response to an Instagram commenter who tried to shame her, she wrote, quote, "I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. This is for anyone who has ever been called fat. Thanks for the inspirational words." She captioned the photo where she was lying down surrounded by potato chips and snacks. She also added a video shot in slow motion featuring her eating a chip, then put up the middle finger and wrote that she's actually not rude, but she wanted to hit back at the online trolls. Number 8. Jennifer Lawrence. She is one of the highest paid actresses in the world, and it's well known that she's probably one of the most famous. We all know she's a bit of a workaholic too, and has certainly been kept very busy since finding fame as Katniss Everdeen in the Hunger Games. But with worldwide fame and success, unfortunately, comes worldwide criticism of weight, especially for women. But according to the actress, she was actually body shamed long before she became a household name. In fact, she admitted to Harper's Bazaar that people first started calling her fat from a very young age, all the way at the beginning of her career. Quote, "It was just the kind of S that actresses have to go through. Somebody told me I was fat, that I was going to get fired if I didn't lose a certain amount of weight. They brought in pictures of me where I was basically naked and told me to use them as motivation for my diet. It was just that." She said at the time it really hurt, but she chose not to let it get her down. She added that she'll never let it happen to her again, and that if anybody ever tries to whisper the word diet, she would tell them to go F themselves. Number 7. Ashley Graham. She was the first ever plus-size model to appear on the cover of Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue back in 2016. But with all that recognition and of course stunning beauty to match, Ashley has also received a barrage of hate comments online, and 99% of them being fatphobic. Most of these people upset at the model claim that featuring her body is somehow glorifying bad health. In fact, one of her haters was Cheryl Tiegs, a former American supermodel who told E! That featuring plus-size models on the cover of magazines promotes an unhealthy lifestyle. This seems to be the main way that plus-size models get hate. But Ashley was very classy about the whole thing, and she had the best response. She told E! quote, "Cheryl Tiegs may have said what she said, and it may have hurt a lot of people's feelings, but my skin is so thick, I kind of rolled my eyes size. I was like, oh whatever, another one of these ladies, which just proves that Cheryl's comments were nothing new and probably something Ashley has heard countless times. She also said that we really need to change the industry because many other women have that same negative mindset. Number 6, Melissa McCarthy. She's had an amazing career so far. She's been in Bridesmaids and had some of the best comedic moments on Saturday Night Live. But McCarthy has often spoken about the body shaming she has experienced throughout her career. In an interview with InStyle, the 51-year-old comedic actress brought up one particular occasion where her appearance has been scrutinized by male journalists. Quote, he kept asking, "Are you shocked that you actually work in this business at your tremendous size?" The actress said that she refused to dignify the interviewer with a response, but insisted that it actually happens all the time. In fact, one especially terrible reviewer called her tractor-sized and, quote, a gimmick comedian who has devoted her short career to being obese and obnoxious with equal success. Which is ironic because at the time she was the second highest paid actress in the world. McCarthy responded to the comments and told the New York Times that she feels really bad for someone who is swimming in so much hate. She just thought that's someone who's in a really bad spot, whereas she's in a really happy spot, which makes sense because a lot of the negative comments are just projections. Number 5, Meghan Trainor. Okay, I think we all remember the controversy surrounding the music video for Meghan Trainor's Me Too. The singer had to deal with body shaming that was not actually coming from fans, but the company that produced her song. So the controversy all started in May of 2016 upon the release of her hit song Me Too, but not long after she learned that they had photoshopped her to make her waist look smaller in post-production. At first, she was confused and she told Good Morning America, quote, "When it was up, I saw my fans posting clips of this dance scene and I was like, why are my fans messing with my waist? And then I looked at my video and I was like, it's my own video." And the crazy thing is that even though Meghan herself was involved in the editing process, they photoshopped her waist down without her knowing. Her reaction was mostly surprised at first because she just wasn't sure how it was done. But she quickly took action. Quote, "I love the director and I love this video and was so proud of this, but I have to call up the head of Vivo and say, take it down, that's not me. I need to fix this now as soon as I can." And she actually really meant it because the video was subsequently removed and a little bit later, the unedited version was then posted. Number 4, BB Rexa. Unfortunately for celebrities, they often have to learn the hard way that you don't just find body shamers in the depths of the internet, but sometimes in the designers that are supposed to be dressing you up and making you feel spectacular. Back in 2019, the singer had to call out body shaming designers who refused to dress her for the Grammys because she was apparently too big for designer clothes, which is ridiculous. While she was disappointed, Rexa defiantly explained, quote, "If a size 6 to 8 is too big, then I don't know what to tell you. Then I don't want to wear your effing dresses, cause that's crazy. You're saying that all the women in the world that are size 8 and up are not beautiful, and they cannot wear your dresses." The same year, she also fired back at body shamers on Twitter, writing, quote, "To all the people tweeting mean things about me and my weight, you just want a response, and you will not get it. Unless you are completely perfect, you have no effing right to talk about anybody else's body." And she added that she does not care about what people think about her weight. She only cares about what she thinks about her own weight. Number 3, Kim Kardashian. Let's be honest, the star has been body shamed for years, from her plastic surgery to her post-pregnancy body that made headlines and was memed like crazy, with people comparing her to a whale. But even though some people feel like Kim has always had the desirable body type, she never really got away from the fat shaming that came with public life. You would think that after years in the spotlight she would be used to it, but Kim opened up to the We Are Supported By podcast and said that the comments about her weight during her pregnancy hurt so much, but her candidness resonated with a lot of people. She started by saying, quote, "It killed my self-esteem. I would sit at home and cry all the time," which just goes to show you how harsh criticism can be. But she has since wrote on her website that she is proud of herself and her body. Quote, "I am empowered by my body. I am empowered by my sexuality. I'm empowered by feeling comfortable in my skin. I'm empowered by showing the world my flaws and not being afraid of what anyone is going to say about me. And I hope that through this platform I have been given, I can encourage the same empowerment for girls and women all over the world," which is a great way to see that she's actually overcome all the negativity. Number 2, Lady Gaga. If anyone knows what it's like to constantly have your body scrutinized by the public, it's Lady Gaga. One of the times times she had to deal with it was back in 2013 when a random Twitter user opted to fat shame her, and in response she just posted a selfie that featured her amazing thighs and captioned the photo "curvy and proud" with a pig emoji. It's definitely one of the simplest things you can do to show the haters that you just don't care. She also dealt with massive amounts of criticism in 2012 after posting some semi-nude photos of herself on her website, revealing that she has struggled with and then it happened again in 2017 after her Super Bowl performance, where the singer wore bodysuits and a tummy-bearing crop top from Versace. The haters were livid that she had a bit of a belly while dancing around and giving the performance of her lifetime. One tweet even said, quote, "All of Lady Gaga's female dancers were fat. Pretty sure it's to make her look thinner." And Gaga responded on Instagram saying that she heard her body is a topic of conversation. So she wanted to say that she's proud of her body and you should be proud of yours too. She told women, quote, "Be you and be relentlessly you." And coming in at number 1, Tyra Banks. When it comes to shutting down fat shamers, Tyra Banks is basically the queen. 15 years ago, we witnessed an iconic moment in television history. The day Tyra Banks told everyone to kiss it. That clip has since gone viral, and it starts with a supermodel walking into a taping of her talk show, focused on addressing photographs that had surfaced of her on the beach. In the paparazzi photos, the star was standing on the shore in a one-piece swimsuit, unaware that her figure would soon be on the front cover of every tabloid in America, under the headlines that were making fun of her weight, like Tyra Banks. But amid the intense scrutiny, Banks wore the same bathing suit on the set of her show and looked into the camera and delivered a now famous monologue. Quote, "I love my mama, she has helped me be a strong woman so I can overcome these kinds of attacks. But if I had lower self-esteem, I would probably be starving myself right now. So I have something to say to all of you that have something nasty to say about me or other women who are built like me." She then tells the haters to kiss it. Such an iconic moment, probably the best clapback to date.